Hello everyone, and thank you for joining this Your Overseas Home webinar. My name is Roseanne Bradley and I'm a writer for Portugal Property Guides and Your Overseas Home. Today we'll be chatting with Robert Webb from Chase Buchanan about the financial and tax essentials of moving to Portugal. It's great to see so many of you with us today, whether you're watching live or on demand. Once Robert has shared his presentation, we'll open the floor up to questions. If you have any as we go along, please feel free to drop them in the box on your right, and I can ask Robert on your behalf. We do hope to answer as many of your questions today, but if we don't get around to them, they will be forwarded to Robert and his team, who will be in touch. So let's get started. Robert, it'd be great if you could just introduce yourself and Chase Buchanan before we start the presentation.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Hello and good afternoon to everybody. A warm welcome to the presentation. I'm going to break it down into a number of parts so that you'll be able to identify with each part. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Chase Buchanan. Then I'm going to discuss how you actually get down here, what visas you need, what documentation you need. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about domestic tax rates in Portugal that you could expect. And then finally, I'm going to discuss some tax planning measures that one should consider before departure and on arrival here in Portugal. All quite easy. There's quite a lot to go through. Don't worry if you kind of missed a thread on some of them, because the slides are readily available afterwards, and I'm happy to answer any questions at any time. So, with no more ado, off we go.
Lovely.
All right. Okay. Right. As I say, the first couple of slides deal with Chase Buchanan, our structure. Now, we are licensed in various countries, and reading from left to right, first one is Cyprus. A lot of financial firms are registered there for lots of reasons. A lot of them basically Brexit. The first license is what we call MiFID. This is an investment license, and it enables us to passport across European countries, all European countries. The second column there deals with our insurance license, also in Cyprus, and that enables us to discuss and recommend insurance products throughout the EU. The third column there is our FCA, our UK FCA regulation, and that is what it's called a runoff regulation, and will apply to existing clients in the UK. Fourth column there deals with our cross-border tax planning facilities. And the last one there deals with America. We are actually registered in America. Very few advisors in Europe are registered in America. So it's a great string to our bow. Okay. Right. This just highlights our passporting from Cyprus. This is our regulator in Cyprus. They're called CISEC. And as you can see, all the countries there all listed out. And in the far right, there's our own little Portugal. But you can see the rest of them: Italy, Spain, France, Germany. So we can advise in all these countries. Okay. And this is our UK Financial Conduct Authority registration. And that's up to date. But as I say, it's what we call a runoff. At the moment, we cannot advise new clients in the UK, basically because of Brexit. But as I say, that's another story. Okay. This is a list of our international offices where we are. So Belgium, Canada, Portugal, Spain, Malta. Basically, the message here is that we've got a very wide presence in many countries, but with that presence comes wide experience. We've got a significant number of consultants who are highly experienced, and we're highly regulated in order to give clients independent, unbiased financial advice. That's our sole objective. Okay.
On that note, Robert, whereabouts are your offices in Portugal?
In Portugal, we're in the south, in the Algarve. I don't know if you know it, but close towns would be Coutira, Vila Moura, Almonsil, places like that. We're quite centrally located, so we can go far over to the west or far over to the Spanish border. So we're well set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a list of our services. Again, quite standard for an international financial services group. As you can see, there's UK plans, stock trading, retirement planning. So really, we cover all aspects, and I don't think there's anything we can't advise on, and they're all there, pretty standard. Right. Okay, now the next couple of slides. Yep. Yeah. Now these slides now deal with what formalities are required for you to come down here to live or work. Now, first, if you're an EU national, Spanish, French, German, Danish, or whatever, it's Irish, it's falling off a log, easy peasy. You don't need a visa. All you do, you come down here and register within 90 days. You have to register with the immigration department. You'll get a registration certificate. You have to go through various formalities. You have to show sufficient funds. You have to have health care. But in comparison to various other systems, it really is very, very simple. Nothing to it at all. Okay. Right, now this is where it starts to get tricky. These are the requirements for non-EU nationals. So that would include Brits, South Africans, Australians, New Zealanders, people outside the EU. Now, there are 3 stages to go through before you get residence. Now, the first one is Schengen. Now, this is a system that allows you to travel within various EU countries without needing a visa. And that is 90 days in any 180. Okay, so to get the technicalities, really, for our purposes, just concentrate on the 90 days. So you can come down here without a visa. You can go and see properties. You can go and see lawyers. You can go and see accountants. The keys to your stay here under Schengen would be to get a NIF number and to get a bank account. Now, a NIF number is effectively a tax number, like a national insurance number, and a bank account. You're going to need both of those if you wish to purchase property. So those really are the 2 key factors that you would need to concentrate on during what I would call a Schengen visit. Right, that's stage 1. Stage 2, when you go back to your home country, you need to apply to the Portuguese consulate in your country of residence for an entry visa. Okay, now this one lasts for 120 days and basically gives you that permission, that consent to come here for the 120 days to complete formalities, to buy your property, so on and so forth. It probably takes 2, maybe 3 months to get it. To be honest, it's a bit cumbersome, it's a bit time consuming, and it's paper driven. So please, kind of take that on board when you do this, because it's not a straight line and it doesn't happen in 5 minutes. Okay, so that's stage 2. Right, now we'll move on to stage 3. Now, this is when you get here. Okay, very simple. You then, when you're here with your 120-day visa, you have to then apply for a residence visa. Okay. Now, at the moment, the one visa I want to focus on is what we call the D7. Okay. Now, this would basically be for retirees. Okay. Now, you get an appointment with the immigration department. It's called CEF, and I have no idea what it stands for because my Portuguese is absolutely useless. But anyway, there we go. But you have to show some minimum requirements to CEF to get the visa. Now, that is a minimum income requirement. For couples, it's 12,690 euros per annum between you. Now, that's really not a lot. Spain, for example, is way up into 35,000 bracket. So it's a significant advantage. Again, it'll probably take 2 months or so to get it. Again, it's very cumbersome, takes a lot of time. There's quite a few twists and turns in it. But once you've got it, you then register with the tax authority, Financiers, and then you also register with the National Health down here. But if you prefer, you can keep your own health insurance. It's not a problem. I've actually had to go through the National Health down here. I had to have an operation for my appendix. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely no problem at all. They did it virtually there and then on the spot. There was no big waiting, no nothing. It was fine. Now, the benefits of your D7 are basically what we call family reunification. So that, in other words, your immediate family would be able to join you on the one visa. The visa lasts for 5 years. And after that, you can apply for permanent residence, which will also enable you to apply for a Portuguese passport. Okay, it's only 5 years, and 5 years goes by pretty quick, and you may consider getting permanent residence and a Portuguese passport to be quite significant. So that's open to you as well. Alrighty, on we go. Now, moving to Portugal with a golden visa. This is another way to get into Portugal, but this golden visa entry procedure is about to close. There's lots of reasons for that. EU pressure, domestic pressure, political pressure, basically because golden visas have forced the prices of property up, and the locals have kind of responded through their political parties. So whilst golden visa is still available, the end of it is quite close, and I would say probably a couple of months at the most. So if the golden visa is attractive to you, you've really got to do it now. And I mean now. I don't mean next week or next month. I mean now, because it could disappear at any time. The two key elements of the golden visa are: one, you need to buy a property for 500,000 euros. Coastal areas no longer exist. You have to go to the interiors. But the big asset or issue for the golden visa is you only need 7 days residence down here in a year. That's quite significant if you're fairly mobile and you're looking for tax efficiency. So message on golden visa, still available, but closing soon. Okay. Right. Now, some general taxation points here. Income tax rates in Portugal really fall into two parts. This first is what's called NHR. It's non-habitual residence. Now, basically, it's a tax concession for 10 years. It lasts for 10 years. And what it amounts to is that for pensions derived from outside Portugal, the rate for 10 years is 10% flat. So that's 10% regardless of the amount. Dividends, interest, and royalties are naught. Okay. So if you say have dividends or interest from other countries with favorable taxation rates, once they get to Portugal, there's no further tax. Really quite a significant advantage there. If you don't have marginal rates, if you don't have NHR, you go to marginal rates, and of course they're banded, and the top rate is 48%. It's quite high, and that is on income over 70,000 euros. So it's not that favorable in a way, because obviously then most people would go for NHR. Property taxes, now if you're buying down here, you have transfer tax, which is quite steep. It goes up to 8% depending on the purchase price. Solicitors' fees, registration fees, stamp duty, IMI, so this is council tax after purchase. So there's quite a significant outlay initially. Wealth tax, that only applies, it's a very small rate for couples if the value of the assets is over 1.2 million euros. Okay. Inheritance tax, which I'll come on to again in a minute. Inheritance tax, there is no inheritance tax in Portugal. Alrighty.
Just on that note, Robert, can I ask, what do you mean by pension derived from Portugal, out of Portugal?
So in other words, income derived from non-Portugal plans in other countries. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Very simple. Okay. Now then, financial planning points. Now, these slides are focused on the UK, but the whole point is that plans that you have in any other country are compliant with that country's tax rules. If you come to Portugal, you have to move into a different box, a different set of tax rules. So plans you have in, say, Spain, France, Denmark, Holland, UK, whilst they're efficient in those countries, they may not be in Portugal. So I'll highlight a few of those for the UK participants. Right, UK pensions, tax-free cash in the UK, absolutely fine, but it's not tax-free in Portugal. So you really should be looking to take tax-free cash in the UK before you get here. It's likely that you might consider to transfer UK plans to offshore plans. There are advantages in doing that, and it would be on a case-by-case basis. UK ISAs, classic, tax-free in Portugal, tax-free in the UK, taxable in Portugal if they stay in the UK. Stocks and shares, same thing, taxable in Portugal. UK investment bonds, you'd get one from Aviva, Standard Life, people like that. Taxable in Portugal if they remain in the UK. UK financial advisors can no longer advise on UK plans for European residents, and obviously that includes Portugal. Irish pensions, this is absolutely massive. Irish pensions are quite quirky in that the income that comes from Irish pensions is taxable still in Ireland, even if you're living here in Portugal. It's a huge point and often missed. And if you want more information on that, please let me know. Alrighty, on we go. This is what you do when you get here. Okay, now for UK, for Brits, there's quite a few forms that need to go back to HMRC. I can tell you all about those. It's quite simple. UK state pensions, still payable in Portugal, no tax deducted, absolutely no problems. NHR, apply for NHR, 10-year tax concession. The plans that you had in the UK, Sweden, France, wherever, you need to look at Portugal tax efficient plans. They're different, okay? So some of the plans would provide in Portugal no capital gains tax and no income tax, particularly for 10 years, okay? So your income or your growth remaining in say a French plan or a Spanish plan or German plan may well be taxable in Portugal. Needs to examine that. UK inheritance tax. Bit confusing this. No inheritance tax in Portugal. But if you're a UK, what we call domicile, you would still be liable to inherit, or could be still be liable for inheritance tax on your worldwide assets, even though you're living down here. Often neglected. Big point. UK and Portuguese wills, you're going to need those as well. Sorry, that's okay. UK and Portuguese wills, you'll need to review those as well. Okay. And the last one, really, I think what I'm actually saying here is that moving here is quite a complex situation. It's quite difficult. There's lots of hoops to go through. You need accountants, lawyers, agents down here who can help you through the system. And one of the big advantages, or rather disadvantages of the whole thing, of course, is language. If you go down to CEF or Financiers, you might hit it lucky and get somebody who speaks English. Chances are you won't, and that's a struggle. So really, a local agent, lawyer or accountant would be a great plus for you to prevent a lot of hair pulling. I can tell you that for nothing.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
I know a lot of the agents we work with in Portugal have English-speaking agents anyway, so sure. And they're quite happy to like liaise for you. So sure. Don't worry, it's not as
absolutely. We've got lawyer and accountant contacts basically all over Portugal, spreading right up to Oporto, right up in the north. So we can cover most areas. And I don't want to overstress it, but this really is quite important because, believe you me, going through the visa process and then going through immigration when you get here and registering with the tax authority, going to the health authority, I tell you, it's a real marathon. I can tell you that. Okay, I think that's basically it. I think the last slide there, just have my last slide.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, last slide there. That's all my details. Now, if you want to ask me any further questions, any further details, or any information you need, please do get in touch. If you want the slides, absolutely no problem. I'll send them straight on to you. So I think, yeah, we got some time left. I think that's worked out quite nicely. So many thanks for attending. I hope you found it useful. And as I said before, if there's anything that's missing or you want any further information, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Robert. I think we've got a bit of time for some questions now, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So Eric's asking, he's planning on retiring to Portugal in 2025. What does he need to do in terms of his UK pension?
Well, a little bit of a vague answer here, and that is review them. Okay, it's as simple as that. Everybody is slightly different. I'm quite happy to review them because obviously we would need to know his objectives, where he's going to live, so on and so forth. So I would do a kind of a detailed analysis on it and let him have an opinion. Simple as that.
Lovely, thank you. James is asking for your recommended partner in the USA. I imagine he means the Chase Buchanan. Basically, Chase Buchanan are operational in the US.
No, we're not actually operational in America. We have a fully qualified SEC consultant. In fact, he's our senior investment manager. He is American. And oddly enough, he's actually based in Italy, but he will be able to handle all American inquiries. If you want details, just let me know and I'll pass you on to him. No problem.
Yeah, lovely. Mike was asking, he has a UK pension, UK NHS pension, and intend to part retire to Portugal using the NHR. Can I get my pension paid to Portugal?
Yes, but the problem you've got here is that because it's an NHS pension, it might still be taxable in the UK. Okay? Government pensions are still taxed in the UK, basically because the government have subsidized them over the years of membership in the NHS and they want something back. So they still retain the right to tax your pension in the UK for government pensions, even if you're living abroad. There is a quirky kind of outcome on this, and if this gentleman would like to get hold of me, I can tell him exactly what it is. But the initial reaction would be it's probably still going to be taxable in the UK. So if that is the case, NHR is not going to help.
Lovely. If we don't go around to your question, by the way, they will be forwarded to Robert and his team.
Okay.
So Julie's asking, I believed you had to have health insurance for the first 12 months. Example, travel insurance rather than PMI.
Yes, that is absolutely right. Okay. You will need that for the entry visa for your application in the consulate in the UK, and you would need it here for the immigration application as well. However, once you've got it, once you've got the residence visa, then you can go into the local national health. So yes, initially, yes, you do need it, and she's absolutely correct.
Evan's asking, is it correct that South Africans can't enter Portugal without the Schengen visa?
South Africans can't enter.
Basically, do they need the Schengen visa to come to Portugal?
From South Africa, yes, probably yes. To be absolutely honest, I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll have to find that out, and I will reply to that.
Okay. Greg says, how long do you need to prove your health insurance for?
Well, you would need it. My opinion, for what it's worth, is because of the time lags. The previous inquiry, 12 months. I would say 12 months would cover it. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Gail's asking, do you need to apply for the visa in your home country? She says that she's currently living and working in another country in the EU.
You might, yeah, okay, if you're a Brit and you're working in, say, France, yes, you might get away with it. The only way around it is just to get hold of the Portuguese consulate in Paris or Frankfurt or Copenhagen or wherever it is and see. I hate to say it, but my guess might be you might have to go back to the UK. But you can do the application, from there into the Portuguese consulate in London or Manchester. It's not a problem.
Great. I think we've got time for a couple more. Alison's asking, she's part of an unmarried couple. Her partner is a Netherlands citizen, retired. She is a UK national, still working. What would be the easiest way to both reside either permanently or half the time in Portugal? Okay,
right. If you want to be here permanently, then my guess would be it's a D7 application. Oh no, wait a minute. Sorry, did you say he was Danish?
Yeah, he's from the Netherlands, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry, from the Netherlands. Okay, well, this is easy. Right.
They are unmarried, though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Not married. Right. Okay, that is a problem. Yeah. The gentleman can come down here under EU, absolutely no problem. But unfortunately, the partner, would have to apply for a separate visa. Yeah, it's a pain. Sorry.
I do believe that if they were married, then she could come under his, because he has free travel within the EU.
Absolutely, under family reunification, it wouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, it's a bit discriminatory. But there you go. So unfortunately, no, it would mean 2 separate applications.
Okay. If you have a tax-free pension in the UK, would you be taxed for that in Portugal?
Tax-free kind of tells me it's probably below the UK personal allowance. So if there's no tax deducted in the UK and you had NHR here, no, there wouldn't be any tax deducted in Portugal either.
Okay. Sorry, there's so many questions.
Oh, good.
Julie, can you explain what you meant by the 1.2 million wealth tax? Is that just property, or what counts towards that threshold?
It's mostly property. Yes, and it's basically 600,000 units per individual. So the gross is 1.2 million. So effectively, if you're buying a house, let's say for more than 1.2 million, yes, there would be tax, but it's not great. It's not a great amount. It's far more severe in Spain.
Okay. I'll just do one more question from Mila. She's already purchased a property in Portugal in 2020, registered as a resident there. However, she spends most of her time in the UK and her earnings are from the UK. Where should she be paying taxes? I believe if she's still registered as a resident there as well.
No, right. The answer is very simple. There's a distinction between residents and tax residents. The tax will follow the country of your tax residence. So, for example, if you spend more than 183 days in the UK in a tax year, you're tax resident there. That's it. Simple. And the same here. You need to be more than 183 days here in a tax year. The problem comes in with the definition of the tax year. Portugal is calendar, so January to December. Brits, like nobody else in the world, are April to April. So you have to juggle the two. But really, the thing to have in mind is 183 days. If you're tax resident, or rather where you are tax resident, will determine where you pay tax.
Okay, I think that's about all we've got time for today.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks for all your insightful tips and advice, Robert. It's been super helpful.
Yeah.
If you did find today's webinar particularly useful, feel free to leave us a review on Trustpilot to help make other aspiring buyers like yourselves aware of our webinars, our resources. We strongly recommend you get in touch with Chase Buchanan directly. You'll receive an email in the coming days with the link to this webinar, as well as information for Robert and his team. So once again, thanks so much to Robert. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with us today. And thanks for joining us, and good luck on your property hunt.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody. And as I say, if you want to get in touch, however small you think it is, please do not hesitate. Once again, my thanks.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye.